All right, take a look at the Gold Dust Twins back in 1975. Fred Lynn and Jim Rice ready to conquer the world. Becoming part of the best outfield we've ever seen, along with Dwight Evans, that 1975 team that won over the hearts of all of New England and all the baseball world, really. Going to be honored today on the field before opening day 2025. We welcome you back to Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by Plymouth Rock Auto and Home Insurance for Boston sports fans. And I don't know, Fred, this feels a little weird. You look to your right, and it's Jim Rice. You look over to your left. Well, I guess from your perspective, it's right. It's from the perspective of the viewer.
They're used to me telling them what to do. So, they did this on their own, so they messed up.
There you go.
Did you notice Freddie told us where to sit?
That's right. He's still running things as the center fielder.
And we did it.
And you did it without asking. Right? You just sat right down. Yes, sir. How great is it to all be back together, to have this group together here today?
It's great. Thought about it for a long time that the Red Sox would have been happy for years and years if we could have stayed together because we knew each other. I met Dwight when I was in high school, and Freddie came along later. I think it was Double A. And it seemed like we just hit it off. Go to spring training, we just hit it off. And like I said, we watched the center field. We played off each other and say, hey, we got each other back. We learned the wall together. We didn't have to worry about right field. Dewey patrolled all that by himself. So we had everything covered.
Yeah, for me, having met Jimmy in Double A was a big deal. We were 20 years old. I was 21. And then we came up from Double A to Triple A together. And then he came up a little bit before me to the big leagues. But I already knew how he was going to play the outfield. And that's key. You're not learning here. We already knew about it. And then with Dwight, that was a quick study. And I already knew about Dwight. I had watched him. And we discussed what we were going to do for right center. And that was it. I didn't have to worry about these guys. These guys could play defense. Could they hit? Yeah, they could hit. But they wanted to play defense, which I appreciated.
Dwight, you've made this your home. You have lived here. When you look back at that 75 team and you talk to people about it, there are a few teams over the course of history that connect with a city. I don't care the sport. Not every championship team does. Some championships are just great teams, but some teams connect. That 75 connection is still real. You still feel that?
I do. The biggest thing with 75 is having these two on our team. It changed the whole dynamic of our club. And I look at this club now. They've got some pretty good players right there. The same thing can happen. But number one, I want to thank the Red Sox organization. I don't mean to get in front of you, Will, there. But I want to thank them for remembering us. Here they bought the club in 2002, but they bought history. And they're honoring that. And by honoring us, it's very special. So I thank them for this day.
Will, you played here. I mean, the tradition is so much of it. That's why Boston is different.
Well, of course. We just came up on our 10-year anniversary, from our World Series in 2013. I just seeing those guys and being around each other and the way we all still stay in contact, it's special. And for me to be able to sit up here with you guys, it's just this is two fans on the ends right here.
That's exactly right.
You guys. So this is really special for me as well.
But I don't know if it was hard for Dwight and Freddie, but for me, it was hard. I had some guy named Williams, some guy named Scrimps. I said, oh, my God, do I have to put those shoes on? So I had one on the left, one on the right. And so Pesky was my man. I went out to work every day because I knew what I had to my left. I had two superstars to my left. They said, Jimmy, you can hit, but you're not a good fielder. So I worked on my fielding every day because I want to be like these guys here.
Freddie, part of the connection I always felt, too, was just you guys kind of reflected Boston. You were young. It's a college town. You were young kids taking on the evil empire, as we called them later, the rivalry with the Yankees. It was just the makeup of those players was the perfect fit for this city at that time.
You're exactly right. And I talk to people about that all the time. Why was the 75 team so popular? We were popular because the average age right here was like 22. Rooster was 23. Cecil Cooper was like 24. And Pudge was like 26. The people sitting behind us were 18 to 22 years old, most of them. And so they identified with us. They said, well, he just got out of college. He just got out of high school. And so for young guys to play well like we did, it galvanized the young people in the city, and there's a lot of them. And when we took off in 75, it happened, coincidentally or not, when school got out. and all those kids started filling the bleachers. And then, man, you couldn't get a seat after that.
Dwight, you look over these two young guys doing what they were doing next year, and you're not that much older, but they come on the scene together. And it really did, as you said before, kind of spark the whole thing, right? All of a sudden you had that little extra bit of talent coming up from the young guys, and that really made this team what it was.
It really did. We did have a nice base, no question about it, but these two came in and they were the missing pieces of the puzzle for us. But I was 23. I was the old guy.
Oh, man.
23. And Jimmy, I think, was just 22, and Freddie was 22. So, yeah. And you know what? It's great for us to get together. I love this. And we don't see each other that much, and time is getting shorter. And this is your first one, 10 years. I hope you have 4 more, just like we have.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan. It's a special group, too. And,
Yes.
Obviously that was 2 years ago, but there's so many groups of those guys that are still in such good contact, which you guys can relate to.
Yeah, we called Freddie last year, Jimmy and I, in spring training, and he just had both his knees done, replacements. So we called him in between pains.
I thought I was going to be taller, but apparently not. Get next to these guys. They didn't shrink at all.
It's good to be working and talking smack and having a cocktail. You know what I mean? That's hard. That's really hard.
You get the finals say, because you get to put a headset back on after the ceremony. Guys, it wouldn't be right to not mention Luis Tiant, who's missing today and will be honored today. Tell us a little about what he meant to all of you.
I'll start. Luis not only was a great competitor, but he's the only guy that I ever played behind that looked at me when you saw him. He'd look at me. He's, "Hi, Freddie." Boom, strike. He's the only guy that could ever do that. And one thing that the fans don't really know, and which means more to us, is that he was great in the clubhouse. I mean, he was one of the funniest guys. He had that kind of a broken English thing, but he knew more than he let on. And he was funny and just kept us loose all the time. And it was a vital part of our success, off the field.
And, man, he was a workhorse.
He was. One thing we forget about, but we remember it when I bring it up, is when that gate would open, that click, no one would move, quiet, and all of a sudden he'd walk through it and he'd get a standing O all the way in, throw his glove or his jacket on the bench and said, let's go, let's get him. And till he threw the first pitch, that's when the standing ovation stopped. He was special.
You would say there were times he'd look at y'all and say, "We need 1 run today, boys."
1 run or 2 runs. But what I was going to say, try to say something good about him. First, I would look at him and I would say he was a good dad, okay? He was a great player when considered a pitcher. He was a good friend because every time we go to spring thing, he was over there. But also, he was cheap. Real cheap.
What was his motto, Jimmy? What was his motto?
If it's free, it's for tea. But everywhere he went, he was loved. And that's what I loved about it.
There's no doubt about that.
He had
I always
alligator
smile.
arms. That's what we call alligator arms when it comes to the check.
But the check's out there, just out of reach.
No, hey, Fred. No, man. I got to go to the bathroom. You pick up now, I pick up later. Well, we got Pam here. Pam know about it, Louis, too.